recording. It's Chris Black coming to you live from New York City on America's favorite day, July 4th. I am recording from the all-new Zoom H6. Jason, thank you for your technical expertise and suggesting this fine piece of machinery for me.
Yeah, so what's going on, bro? I saw on Instagram that it's raining cats and dogs over there in the city. Is that true?
Yeah, it's honestly this last 3 or 4 days in New York has reminded me about how disgusting the cesspool is. I mean, the smells, the trash, the tourists.
Oh, the rats are getting bigger and stronger and harder and better and faster.
It's crazy. They eat their own pizza now. But the it did rain. I think now the sun's creeping out. Luckily, I'm indoors tuning into the championships, Wimbledon over there in the UK, where they're also suffering from some rain. But luckily, they have a couple closed courts where Andy Murray is able to, and his new hip are able to hit some balls. So we're in good shape.
So is Wimbledon happening right now as we speak?
Yes, it is. Yeah, this is day 2, and I believe that I think 28 matches have been canceled or delayed because of weather. So it's going to last longer than it usually does, just based solely on scheduling.
Fellas, promo code How Long Gone at checkout for BlueChew.com. You want to last longer? Well, I mean, I was saying earlier, whenever a holiday happens or anything like that, all I want to do is like watch Wimbledon and eat a hot dog, maybe take a nap, old guys rule lifestyle.
Yeah.
But we got to do this and we got to prep this and the dog sitter and this barbecue and that friend's thingy and we're doing this and that. It's so much work.
Yep.
So much work when you're supposed to not work.
Well, Jason, unfortunately for you, I
don't even have kids, for Christ's sake.
This is the life you've chosen. And
imagine if there was a fucking baby TJ. The amount of other
I can't imagine. I'd
be the most insufferable little bitch complaining about everything. My therapist would go need a therapist once I shit out one of these little kids.
I think that the other problem that you have that I don't have is people know I can bring nothing to a party. I can't bring any ribs. I can't make any Allison Roman desserts. I can't do anything.
Well, that's false, Chris. You have to bring the hardest thing of all, something that money can't buy, even though you always bring a thoughtful bottle of wine. You have to bring, quote unquote, it.
Sure. Okay. So I have to bring.
You know what I mean?
So I have to bring it, but sometimes I don't know if people recognize the value of it when comparing it to something a little more robust, like some ribs.
Well, it is priceless, Chris. That's why. That's why we have trouble.
I agree. Look, you don't have to twist my arm, bro. I understand. So you're juggling all of these duties, and you also mentioned some landscaping. Were you in the yard this weekend? Because that's traditional July 4th stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also, not only do I have to bring it, but I also have to bring dip.
Okay.
So I don't want to hear it, Chris.
Don't look. I'm saying you built this life for yourself, and now you're in a prison of your own making.
I know. Yeah, I was landscaping. Carolyn thought it'd be a good idea to trim some trees this weekend, and we got after it. It looks great. I'm glad we did it. I mean, I whine and complain and I kick and scream, but when it's done, I do feel a good feeling. It's just like, is it worth it?
I feel that at the gym too, and I feel like that's the only thing that betters me as a person. But maybe I should try cutting down some trees. I mean, these are small trees. You were just up there with a ladder. You weren't scaling. You weren't rappelling.
I was up there with the ladder. It was more of a prune than anything.
Okay,
but. The emotional tax that I had to as an artist, I can't just prune. I have to create. And
can I ask you why you didn't just hire someone to do this? It seems like a pretty simple task for a professional gardener, one which I'm sure you have coming by every week or at least bi-weekly.
Every week. But I don't know. The gardener is always going to do something. He's always going to fuck something up. No, I mean, I hope, Frank, if you're listening, I don't mean that, but we're very particular people. There's always like, can you just do this? And there's always one thing where it's like, you did it technically, but it's also like not exactly how I would have done it. Like you didn't fuck it up, but I would have done it differently. And but also I get pleasure out of doing it myself.
Well, that's the beauty of not knowing what's good or bad or caring or knowing if you could do a better job. I never can do a better job, so the task is always complete by a member of our staff.
So you've been the most ignorance is bliss ass person under my nose this entire time. I never even realized it.
That's exactly, Jason. Welcome to hell. But beyond your tasks, I wanted to talk about something that we've been paying close attention to, and that's Hunter Biden smoking crack and driving 172 miles an hour. And I think there was some there's some confusion in the World Wide Web that maybe he was doing both at the same time, and I think that it's two separate incidences.
Is that a sensationalized headline?
I think it's a sensationalized headline, yeah, but I think he was doing both things, and 172 miles an hour seems really high.
Yeah, I was saying earlier that you don't really see people hitting those speeds on civilian roads. Maybe on like a Top Gear closed track where the guy's got a helmet on and a harness and everything. Hunter didn't even have his seatbelt on. Hunter had like one of his balls was hanging out the bottom of his shorts while he's trying to get the cap open on his fucking Mountain Dew Code Red.
If he doesn't look,
and he's like, oh shit, I'm doing 172 is hard to hit. That's all I'm saying.
172 feels like also what I didn't read fully into what kind of car he had, but that feels like Maserati level. Like the Honda Accord ain't going 172.
I think it was a Porsche.
Okay, because I know he's been taking money from all those foreign adversaries. So at least he was spending it on some German engineering. Because otherwise. He's really a cockroach, so he won't die, and I'm continually impressed by his feats, physical and otherwise.
He's the white Flavor Flav.
Do you think he was getting? Do you think there was any sort of sexual activity with a woman of the night going on while he was driving 172, or just while he was smoking crack?
I guess it makes sense because in the little kind of 911 Carrera, you have room for a sex worker or a suitcase, and he doesn't seem like the type of cat who travels with much. He's not a big packer.
He was able to leave the Goyard duffel at home for the weekend and instead replace it with a fine young lady who's kind of putting herself through school.
Yeah, he did not have time. It was probably, let's go to Vegas. It was a little more impulsive, and it was a little less like he's not checking the Points Guy website for some like packing tips on like rolling up his. Yeah.
He didn't. He didn't even check JSX for open aisle seats. He just kind of got in the Porsche and did his thing.
Figure it out.
But the real
he usually likes to take the time to get his suitcase wrapped in plastic in the airport terminal. But even then, he was like,
we're
not
cutting
now.
it close. We're cutting it so close, but yeah, I think that the Hunter Biden saga is one of the greatest things that we've ever gotten from a president, and I think you guys need to stop focusing on laws and bills and all this like kind of social studies ass gobbledygook and focus on the fact that this is the best thing we've gotten since John F. Kennedy Jr. shirtless. This is the best thing. Like, what are we talking about? Chelsea Clinton?
Yeah,
come on. She didn't do shit.
Hunter Biden is the most Republican Democrat in the history of the world. He's just getting after it. If Hunter Biden was Republican, everyone would be so happy. There wouldn't be a problem in the world. The Ukraine war would be over.
No, he would be the president. If he was Republican, he would be the president. he would have conquered his own father to take the position of power because he would be so beloved. And he does feel, he does feel. I feel a close kinship to Hunter, not only because he's a drug addict, but also because he's a little bit, he feels Southern. His spirit is Southern. Let's say. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, at the very least, his neck is red. But that's from some type of tapeworm situation.
No,
it's a bacterial issue.
No, he fell asleep at the pool at the Beverly Hills Hotel after a few too many, and he kind of got a little. But I think that he would be president if he was Republican, and I'm waiting for him to kind of just it's time, man. Just switch sides. Let's have a career. They don't care about corruption. They don't care who you're taking money from. They don't care who you're selling stuff to. And I think that is a place where he could profit and thrive. So it's something to consider, kind of switching parties.
And just like a vasectomy, in a couple of years you can switch back to Democrat whenever you need to.
Yeah, no one cares.
It's just like watching wrestling. Like, oh, Undertaker's good now. Whatever.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah, that's actually a great comparison. No one actually cares.
Yeah, as long as the plot keeps moving. But also, friend of the show, Sofia Rossi, invited us over to watch the season and series finale of
let's
HBO's
not go there yet.
The Idol.
Unless you know something I don't know, Jason. We're not sure that season 2 isn't coming. We don't know.
After watching the finale, you watched it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is that? What is that answer? Yeah, it's a yes or no question, Chris. What's going on?
Yeah, no. I was thinking
Why are you
about
being cockshy?
well, because we saw the finale, like they shot that scene at the show we were at in LA.
Oh,
Like the one where they're on stage. That was during, like, we had to sit through that at the beautiful SoFi Stadium.
you got to sit through that.
I don't know if it was
When history was made.
I mean, I couldn't see.
When the Weeknd's manager figured out a tax loophole.
I mean, it's pretty tough to recreate a stadium scene without kind of just doing it or piggybacking. You know, I don't know how else you do.
Oh, it's very hard, but it's also a nice little write-off, you know?
Yes, yeah, I'm sure. And I'm sure after Sam Levinson was so deeply over budget, HBO would take whatever they could get.
This was the work of the Finkelsteins, if you ask me.
Did you have to bring something to that event, or were you able to take the night off and just watch Tedros do his thing?
I brought a Weiser Farms cantaloupe and some prosciutto, but she's vegetarian, so I took my meat home and then just gave her a melon.
So you kept your
to enjoy at a later date.
You kept your meat in your pants and just left a melon on the table?
Yeah, and it seems like a good. It felt odd being in BJ Novak's house while he wasn't home, but it was nice to sort of communicate through. Like, he was texting with us kind of in spirit, and I was saying, like, it would be nice if, you know, those iPads that are on the little wheels, like the little Segway wheels, and there's an iPad and
Yes.
it can move around your house, like when your grandma can't walk no more. I wanted BJ to have that and him to be like, "Oh, I see you found my medicine cabinet, Jason. Oh, you found my cookie drawer. Guilty."
It would only be cool if it was BJ's voice coming from the robot iPad, like scolding you for having too many of his Tate's crispy cookies, and then sending you a small invoice for the cookies that you did enjoy. It's like in Vegas when you if the liquor bottle moves, they charge you for it. You know, it's kind of it's a tripwire system at BJ's.
But I'm kind of sad to watch The Idol. I watched episode 1 in the sauna like an hour before I went to go watch the finale because, you know, episodes 2 through 4 don't really matter.
Well,
I got to hear the song, and I'm a freak. It's in my body now. I know that I'm a month late to the party. Sorry, guys.
I think the song is. I'm actually working on a story about this right now, and I think the song is going to be the lasting. Like, I think that could be like a gay anthem for years to come. Like, a, you know, if the DJs keep spinning it, if you and your community support this song, I think we could have it.
Well, that's the thing is I don't think that I don't think it's padoming. I don't think the song is necessarily it's sort of I won't say it's been rejected by our community, but it's not making a splash the way that everyone expected it to.
Well,
I think it's because the song is a little too, you know, it's like I love the music of Sky Ferreira. Gonna go see her this weekend, but you don't play it at 3 a.m. at Rage on Santa Monica Boulevard.
No, I agree with
it's
you.
It's a little on the more melon, you know, a little sleepier, a little moodier.
I know, but it has a nice cultural tie-in, and I think if people were pathetic enough to play the White Lotus theme song at their $1 million wedding, then I feel like this could. I mean, it doesn't seem that crazy, but you're right. It's not an upbeat.
No, I trust me. I want it to. I want it to be a thing, but I just don't know. I feel like if it hasn't happened yet, the door.
Yeah,
kind of starting to close.
Well, who knows what could happen? There could be more behind the scenes revelations from the set, you know, that could keep this thing moving.
But I all that to be said, I am a little sad to miss this show because it's like, you know, when you would watch movies from the 80s when everyone was just on cocaine and everyone was greenlighting everything and nothing mattered. Every budget wasn't limited and we're just printing money. It was sort of a return to that form for just a brief moment where it's just like, yeah, we're going to make, you know, like that movie Cocktail with Tom Cruise, just like, yeah, let's just make him like a bartender in a club, and that's the movie.
Yeah,
and everyone was like, good enough. This is rocking.
I mean, it worked. It worked. No,
so
you're
it's
right.
the same kind of thing, but even like the plot doesn't matter. They'll be like, oh, do I need to pay attention to this like weird thing that just happened to the Blackpink chick? And they're like, no, we're never gonna see any of this again. Like, just giving up halfway through storylines in like a beautiful way. And it almost was like a choose your own adventure to me. It was like, what happened there? And it was like, whatever you want. It doesn't matter. And that was kind of freeing.
The way that people, I mean, the how upset it made people was what was freeing to me. Like, I haven't seen some, like, it made me feel like I was crazy to watch people. I'm just like, guys, why don't you just like laugh at it and have fun? Like, why is this like, the most shocking part was people going like Catholic mode, pearl clutching, like, it's just too vulgar. It's just too much for me. And I'm like, you literally don't shave your armpits and vote for Bernie, and this is too much for you? Like, come on. Like, what's the big deal? Like, I just don't understand. Like, it's not like I need to see all of this stuff. Like, do I want to see The Weeknd tie Lily Rose Depp up with a robe and cut a hole for her to breathe? No, I don't want to see that. But it doesn't offend me. It's just like,
well, unless I'm alone in the sauna, I don't want to see.
Well,
that.
yeah, of course, that goes without saying. But I think that was
I agree.
One of the funniest parts about the reactions to me, where people were like offended by it, and I'm like, why can't you just have fun and laugh at this? Like, it's pure entertainment. Sorry, it doesn't have the the panache and family drama of Succession. I just don't know what we want.
Panache. Well, I think this was is a litmus test or a battleground in the culture wars, where it's like, how conservative are you? How much of a freak are you? How hot are you? How much do you not care? How sexual are you? And you learn instantly just how sexual or how prudish or how fun or how weird and not so fun all of your closest friends and families and everyone you follow.
A litmus test. A few other things.
A litmus test, but instead of an eyedropper full of some type of chemical compound solution, it's just Weeknd's cum.
Ew.
It's just cum.
Jason, don't talk about Abel like that. That's gross.
I'm unable to climax.
They're fresh seawater. We also want the Yannick Sinner, the tennis player, at Wimbledon, he brought out the Gucci bag.
Yeah.
And this is a big deal because this has never been done before. So he had the Gucci bag on the court with the custom initials on the tag. And I think this is, I love to see this. I love to see, this is how it should be. These guys are hot. They're athletes. Like, let's see them. And they also make it look better than NBA players because it's just a bag and not parachute pants.
This is not a violation, though, is it? Like, is it one of where Michael Jordan had to pay the fine every time he brought a Gucci bag out? It's not like that.
No, apparently there were levels of approvals that it had to happen. But I think that they know it's good for them.
Yeah.
I think they know that, and I think that Louis Vuitton is in the mix as well. So it's but people are losing their minds over it. It's pretty cool. I mean, it looks good and it feels appropriate. So I wonder if it'll have any repercussions, or if people are going to start really throwing their hat in the ring.
Didn't that happen a while ago, where there's a tennis player who had some article of clothing or a garment? It was the really tall guy that we were going to get on the pod that one time. He had a bag or something that was like a violation of like the dress code of the tournament he was playing in, and he had to pay like a $10,000 fine or something like that. Do you remember that?
Yeah. He brought a gallery. Tote bag
gallery department
onto the not gallery department, like an art gallery. And it was like pink. Riley Opelka, and it was like pink. And he got fined, but that was just him trying to I think he was trying to that's his homies or something. Yeah. Like, if I'm gonna break a rule and get fined, I'm gonna do it for a luxury house that's paying me $1 million. That seems like a better idea than my homie's gallery.
There we go.
But yeah, that is
American Express fined him $10,000,
and he continued. But I think what happened is he probably didn't get a kickback on this, but I bet that whatever that business was, sold a lot of those fucking bags after that happened, because he continued to carry it for months. But yeah, and then the only other thing that happened this weekend during July 4th, Jason, was the rate limit being exceeded on the twitter.com website. It only happened to me for a day, but there was an issue with a Google bill that Elon didn't want to pay. Therefore, he decided to, instead of pay the bill, kind of put a governor on the amount of tweets you could see per day for not paying for the service. Mm-hmm. Limiting someone like me to 600 tweets is like taking my oxygen away.
Yeah.
So I was a little concerned But then it just kind of, like most things that you guys complain about with the Twitter website, it just kind of went away, and I haven't heard anything else about it after 24 hours, which is truly amazing. That's what everything that people are like, that's it, I can't deal with this anymore. It just goes away if you just wait it out. And I wanted to say, and I mentioned this to you, but stop with this Bluesky shit, guys. No one's going to Bluesky. I'm leaving this garbage app for Bluesky. Find me over at the other app. Like, stop. No one's using Bluesky. It's not gonna work. The only thing that could work is the Zuck version that is coming to Instagram. Threads. I wish I had a Z.
Meta Threads.
But Bluesky is not it. So stop. And like Bluesky, it just doesn't, like I said to you, it sounds like a fucking vegan yogurt. That does not sound like a place where I'm going to post all my cool thoughts and opinions. Like, we just have to stop. It's not happening. I see all these journalists being like, yeah, follow me. I can't take anymore. Follow me over on Bluesky. What can you not?
Finally leaving this dumpster fire where I'm going to post screenshots on my Twitter.
Like, what do you think? It's the same thing. Like, what do you think is going to happen? No one's going to follow you there. It's not. We've seen this happen so many times. Like, it's crazy to me how people are so offended by what Twitter does when it's a free service that gives you hours and hours of entertainment. Just enjoy it and let it rock. That's it. Like, there's no reason to think about it more than that.
To me, there's a lot of similarities of when everyone was like, you know what? I'm going to get like a Samsung phone instead of an iPhone. And then everyone they're like, hey, the camera's better. It's faster. I can save my files. And they list all the stuff that's better. And then the only defense every time is, but like, yeah, just look at it. It looks weird.
Dude. Yeah,
I don't want it. And that's it. And like, when you look at Bluesky, it's like, oh, here's them jeans at blue.sky.social. Just follow me there. And just simply looking at the URL of your account, you're like, no.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I'm out, dude. Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah, it does remind me. Yeah.
It just takes, it's like those little human, like reptile brain things about it where you just look at something and you're like, I don't even care if this is good. I don't want to do it.
It's like, well, the Google Pixel.
It's just dumb.
The Google Pixel photos are, I'm like, all right, so you're going to use a Google Pixel? Like, all right, man, God bless. It's like people who try to use non-Apple headphones. Like, what are you trying to prove?
There's a lot of, there's another one that I just thought of. When people have the performatively cheapest electric car, like I drive a Chevy Volt, and they're like Teslas and Mercedes, and every single car makes like a sick one, but you had to buy the one that's like the most like librarian ass one of all time as a thing, and they're like, yeah, but it's just the mileage, and like, I don't care.
Let's save it.
It just looks stupid.
Save it.
It's stupid. That's it.
Save it. All right. How long gone? We do have a guest today. We had a great chat with Trevor Powers. You probably know him as Youth Lagoon. His new album, Heaven's in Junkyard, is out now on Fat Possum, receiving rave reviews, best new music from Pitchfork. But Trevor surprised us coming to us live from Idaho, and we had a pleasure.
Yeah, because of our holiday weekend and the way things are moving around. Full disclosure, we did already record the interview, so it's not a straight into one, but that's good news because I could tell you that, I had not expected anything from Youth Lagoon. I was obviously familiar with him and his music, but have never spoken to him or heard an interview with him. So who knows with these musicians? But it ended up being one of the better podcast guests that we've had in a long time. He was very open and therapeutic. He kind of played us like a fiddle. In some ways, where he opened us up. Got me wide open.
He did. No, he did. He really did.
So yeah, the tables are a little turned on this episode. He's asking us a lot of questions.
The tables are turned. Yeah. Shout out to Trevor. All right. Thank you guys for listening. How long gone? We're back this week with more podcasts. Don't you fucking worry. And I hope everyone had a great July 4th. Jason, good luck with your ribs. I hope you don't get sunburned. Like, have a hot dog for me, etc.
Have fun doing what I want to do. Watching Wimbledon on a Samsung, a stupid Samsung TV that looks like a picture frame.
Actually, I want to talk to, since you brought that up, Jason, I do want to say our long national nightmare is over. We gave in and we bought the Samsung frame stand from Amazon.com, and the TV is up now on the stand, and I love the way the stand looks. It's not quite a flush mount, but this is going to do. So 2 years later, we are able to watch the TV when it's not sitting on the ground. So I just want to kind of
this feels like your version of like
speak my truth to power.
being okay with the fact that you can't have kids and you're okay with adopting. You're like, you know what? We finally we're totally fine with not being able to mount it on the wall because of the structural issues, and I think the stand is gonna be great.
It is great. Oh, and the other Jason, oh my God, I almost forgot. And this is for our Bravo heads out there. So Jason, you can cover your ears, but
pour on another pot of coffee. The kiki begins.
But Kyle Richards and Mauricio Umansky are separated. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, 27-year marriage, and it seems like Kyle Richards
27
seems like Kyle Richards is going Chriselle mode, and she's diking out with Morgan Wade, a female country singer, who now some of my internet researchers have discovered that Kyle and Morgan have matching tattoos. Morgan has also been wearing Kyle's Rolly. And so they think there's a little more going on than friendship, if you know what I mean. So the continuation of Bravo female celebrities going lesbianist during their career. There's countless now. Kyle's pretty high profile. Obviously, she's been part of the franchise since day one. This was big news yesterday. And as Nomi Fry texted me, this is the fall of man. Men we're being replaced. At least in the Bravo universe.
You just said a lot of words, and I don't know what any of them mean, but it does seem
it's not
big.
For you. It doesn't
I like
matter.
that there is a female country artist named Morgan Wade, as well as Morgan Wallen. Does she also a little fast and loose with the N-word?
I don't know, but she looks like it, yes.
Wouldn't put it past the hoe.
She's well, the best thing is that she has this. She's tatted up.
This tatted up Morgan is gonna take the role, not the Presidente off the.
No,
I'm wearing it. What are you gonna do about it?
No,
that's what I thought. Nothing.
It's really funny though, because people are like, look at her watch before she met Kyle, and it's an Apple Watch. And it's the same picture. Look at her watch after Kyle, and it's the Rolly. But I guess Kyle had famously like on.
Wait, what does Kyle do? What does he do?
It's a woman.
Oh, okay.
Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but actress,
So she's a housewife, entrepreneuress, etc.
Yeah. That's fair to say. But she's also, she's just part. Like he's hot. That's the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like her husband is like the known hottie real estate agent, and he's about to run through every hostess in West Hollywood. It's about to be a movie for this motherfucker.
What? And this guy's name is what? Mauricio?
Mauricio, yeah.
Mauricio, right.
He's hot, kind of a gray daddy vibe, and I think he's about to kind of remind Kyle what she's missing. When she hits.
I did see Mauricio on gay Twitter pop ups, saying like finally. Yeah. Daddy's open. Daddy's ready for my hole and stuff like that.
I'm sure Andy's already put dibs on it, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good luck. I'd like to see you try.
How long gone? Pray for Maurizio. Pray for Kyle. And we'll be back next week with more podcasts. And thank you for Trevor for being such a great guest. Goodbye.
Thank you to everyone. Bye.
I just want to say.
The real question is, Trevor, why aren't you in the studio right now? Where's the Focusrite? Where's the Elvis style microphone? Are you just at home?
I saw a microphone behind him.
Yeah, I have a mic behind me, but I've been having some trouble with it, so I had to order another one. I don't know what's going. I have no idea what's going on with it.
And we got a 4-day weekend. 4th of July is fucking up your delivery, probably, isn't it?
I'll get it figured out.
Guitar Center shipping.
That's a nice diplomatic answer.
Guitar Center shipping stuff is always so annoying. I get it, bro. It's a real pain in the ass. Those guys over there aren't in any rush to get us.
Yeah, actually, we got a lot of gearheads who listen. Are you more of a Sweetwater guy? You a Guitar Center guy? Amazon? Where are you buying your gear at?
Sweetwater. Always Sweetwater.
Oh, really? Why do you say that?
Well, I'll do Guitar Center if it is down the street, so it's really convenient. So usually I'll do it if there's something that's an emergency situation. But Guitar Center has fucking gone down the tubes. Every single time.
Oh, you sounded Canadian there. I liked it.
Every single time I'm in there, I think last time I had to get something that was behind glass pane. I think it was a pedal.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to say it was a guitar pedal. So it was behind one of those glass panes that you're supposed to just slide out. But there was a key that you needed to unlock it. And the dude couldn't find the key. So then he went to go find the manager. The manager also couldn't find the key. I was there for over an hour with them looking for the key. And that wasn't the first time, because that happened at home. And then I was in Atlanta maybe 2 months ago. And almost the same exact thing happened in Atlanta. So at that point, I was like,
Damn.
It's ultimate emergency situation.
Guitar Center cannot. It's like when you go to Walgreens and you want to buy some Advil and like some fucking, TikToker can't find the key to open it up, and you're like, God damn it, this is bullshit.
Yep. That's totally it. That's 100% it. But Sweetwater's so reliable. I mean, they're super reliable. So yeah, that's always my go-to.
Make some noise for Sweetwater.
Hold on, I don't know anything about Sweetwater. I thought it was a beer. So if you guys could kind of enlighten me on what this is, this is the first.
It's a low gravity cider, actually.
It is, yeah. 10%.
10%. Good luck. Hold on to your hat.
Yeah.
I hope you got a babysitter.
So is Sweetwater just like a cool new Guitar Center competitor? That's what I'm taking away from this.
It's not new. It's been around forever.
Yeah, it's been around for a long time. I don't think they have any physical locations, but to my knowledge, it's all online. And their reps too care a lot, to the point where they'll always check in. They'll actually like, it feels weird sometimes, but they'll text you to see how the piece of gear is. That's happened to me multiple times. And it doesn't really matter what, like whatever you want to call the status of the music that you're doing. Like you could be a local band in Kansas City, and they'll do the same thing. So it's
interesting.
They just care a lot.
You could be Ozzy Osbourne or your ass in Idaho, and you're still getting the same white glove service.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Take my money, Sweetwater.
I love getting a text message from a guy from you bought some strings from, like, are you up? How's the recording going? It does seem a little intrusive.
Dinesh wants to know if your sister-in-law had that kid yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's a little, but I guess that's good customer service at the end of the day, because customer service, as you've stated, it's a dying art. So the fact that they're doing this is the reason they're seeing such a rise, and maybe they're going to one day dominate over Guitar Center.
For sure. Well, and I even bought a keyboard a little while back, and I had used I took it out of the box. I used it for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, and it wasn't working out. And this thing was fucking huge. And I contacted Sweetwater and asked if I could send it back, and they gave me a full refund even without the box. So I just took it.
Full refund.
No, yeah,
bro.
So it's pretty impressive.
It's a Sweetwater touch, brother.
Sweetwater is different. Damn, that's crazy. All right, so you can tell the truth on how long gone. You used the keyboard, you got the part you needed recorded, and then you sent it back. That's what you did, right? Like,
no, really, the main thing was I had this.
Don't play me like that, bro.
Don't play me like that.
I had this old Nord that wasn't working at the time because some of the keys were fucked up, and then it started working. And that's been my baby for years.
You said a Nord.
It's funny that you said Nord. We had a hot debate on one of our last episodes about the Nord.
What was the debate?
Are you familiar with the Nord versus Rhodes battle? Obviously you're a Nordic soldier, it sounds like, right?
I am, definitely.
Okay.
I mean, it's been my baby this whole time.
State your claim.
That's my claim.
Or I'll kill you.
That's my claim. So what was the argument?
No, well, he was talking about, we had this a musician, John Carroll Kirby, who's like a synth kind of studio keyboard guy. He's got a solo record out. It's groovy.
Oh yeah, he's great.
Okay, so you're familiar.
Yeah.
Okay, sick. So he was talking about how there's sort of a little battle between the two camps of the Rhodes world. And they say like the Nord doesn't have the mechanical real feel, like a vinyl DJ versus playing with the laptop, like, oh, it's some false bullshit. The Nord is cheating kind of thing. And you're kind of like, yeah, Nord is sick. What are you talking about?
I mean, I've never used the Nord in the studio, but it's been fine for live. It's consistent. That's the thing. Because I was playing a Rhodes for a while live, and it wasn't, maybe it was just the state of my Rhodes, but it wasn't consistent.
Hey. Show me a Rhodes that's not in bad condition. You know what I mean, brother?
Yeah. You probably can't trust one that is in good condition.
Yeah, that hasn't been played hard enough.
Like, what's the catch?
This shit isn't broken in. You know what I mean? It's like a nice pair of shoes.
It's like one of those self-driving cars. Sooner or later, that crosswalk's going to get violated. You know what I mean?
Yes. For sure.
Well, you like that a little too much, Youth Lagoon. Come on, what's going on over there?
Trevor, where are you? Right? Are you coming to us? Where do you live? Do you live in LA, or do you live in the motherland?
No, I live in Idaho. So I I'm just calling in from my house.
First time listener, big time caller. Okay, well, you mentioned that you live close to a Guitar Center, so you're not too far out into the wilderness because your Zoom background screen, it kind of has a Unabomber-esque acreage going on in that image. No offense. It looks beautiful and serene.
Hella acreage.
I mean, you're not giving militia, but it's not off the table. You know what I mean? but all that is to say, when you walk into your local, when you're like, actually, thank you very much. This is the nicest thing I've ever said.
That's very kind of you.
Very kind to you as well, sire. So when you go into your local Guitar Center in wherever the fuck Idaho that you're at, are you like a god? They're like, oh, look who it is.
No, I don't think so. I basically I don't spend much time in Guitar Centers. I just go in and go out. So I have no idea what anyone's thinking.
Okay.
And I don't really care.
Okay, so I was hoping that you were going to say, no, they actually bully me at Guitar Center.
Yeah, like, buy a Stratocaster, pussy. What are you doing with another keyboard? That's what I was
Quit making that Grimes music.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. So Idaho that's where you're from, though, correct?
Yeah. It's been home since I was a little kid. I was born in San Diego, but I've lived in Boise since I was
this is
about 2 or 3.
I don't think I've ever met anyone from Idaho. So if you could kind of make the case for it, that'd be great for us.
I mean, that's a testament to how stupid San Diego is. You're like, you know what? I'm going to give Idaho a shot. I mean, you were 3 at the time, so you didn't really know that much about how the world works. But
I was 3.
The waves are tasty, but everything else sucks, man. It's kind of a military state down there.
Not a big Frisbee guy. I get it. Okay, yeah. So walk us through Idaho scene report.
There's so many dimensions to it, so it really comes down to where in Idaho you are. But that's one thing I love about Boise, and that's so inspiring, is you could be in one part of Boise that is in, essentially it's right on the cusp of the mountains. Yeah. So the mountains are they're pretty much in your backyard, about 30 minute drive depending on where you're at, and then you can be in these areas that it feels like, I guess the spirit of it can feel very Midwest.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to it. And for years, there was that mentality of wanting to run from home because it felt so comfortable and it felt like it's what so it feels boring and feels mundane. But as soon as I started traveling so much with music, the definition of home changed dramatically. And then you start appreciating some of that sanity and some of the known, because there's so much in life that is unknown.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
No, but also when you were a youngster, were you just like, I got to get out of here because Idaho is void of the culture that I'm into? Like, were you reading books and magazines and looking at stuff on the internet and you're like, oh my God, I need to go to a big city?
That was totally it. And then when I started because I spent so much time in New York and LA and so many places, because I do travel. I get out constantly. It was the act of not getting out that was starting to drive me insane. So when I started leaving and then coming back home, like I said, it gave me a different appreciation for it. And beyond that, it showed me how much life really is happening on my street. And it gets a little annoying when you're in places like, especially Brooklyn has this mentality that I've encountered a lot, where people assume that everyone wants to live in those places, when it's so not the case. Because to me, I like dipping my toe in that water, but
yeah, I don't want to live there either.
But my whole process really revolves around, I have a great community of people here, and it's very tight knit, but also artistically I kind of like being on an island, and I don't like being saturated by what other people are doing. I like tuning into I have my own little means of inspirations, like movies and my own wormhole shit that I go down. But I like there not being an active there's a music scene, but it seems like it's way more disjointed in a place like this, just because it's so much smaller.
No, totally. Yeah, no, I've heard people in your position say similar things. Like, I don't want to be overly influenced by what's going on. Yeah. And it's tough because we have so much access to it. Now it's very easy.
Yeah.
But living in fucking Williamsburg will ruin you in many ways. So you avoiding that has done wonders. Done wonders for your career and your mental state, I'm sure.
Oh, big time. Yeah. Cause it's easy to be, it's so much easier, I would say, to be inspired at least for my personality type, where I have the option to have, like I said, these close-knit communities, but also you can be as reclusive as you want.
Yeah.
In a place like Brooklyn, you definitely can, but it's not even down to noise pollution. LA is the same way, and I fucking love these places, so I'm not dogging it, but I like
Dog away, brother.
I like having the nothingness when I want it.
Yeah, no, I say this to Jason all the time. Sometimes because I'm from Atlanta, not that it's so
Sounds like Oxycontin to me.
it's so small, but like I just feel like I need to. Sometimes I'm desperate to touch some grass as well. And then after a couple days, I got to get back to the big city. But I'm also not making anything. I just need to do it for like to feel like nostalgia a little bit. I think is what it is.
Yeah,
He has to go eat that shitty burrito from the place where he grew up going to, even though it's just a thing that you got to do.
You have to.
Yeah, it's a part of life. Do your parents still live there? Like, do you see your family all the time and shit?
Yeah, my family lives about 10 minutes away, 10-minute drive, 15 minutes. So everyone's really close. And if I didn't have as many, there's certain coffee shops and places that I'm used to going on almost a daily basis that when it comes down to my process with working on music, there's so much of it that happens demo wise where I'm by myself, but things like lyrics, when I can actually get out of the house and I can go hang out with people and be in these areas that there's a comfort to it. It's just
see a barista you can write a song about.
Yeah,
well, it's just that it's that blend between. It almost feels like Cheers or something, because there's people that you've known for sometimes 20 years. Sometimes that's a good thing and sometimes it's a terrible thing. But I do think it's interesting.
Depending on how many teeth they still have.
Yeah. Some of them not many. Some of them not many, dude. It's bad.
Hey, Hollywood.
You see some shit out there in Idaho. No, I mean, I think that makes total sense. I also think obviously your dollar goes a little further there too. That land's a little cheaper. So there's a lot of benefits.
Are you blowing a bag at REI? What's going on?
Wait, say that again.
Where do you spend money in Idaho, though, or do you not?
Well, it depends on what your priorities are. So, I mean, we do have the internet.
He said we do. He said we do have the internet. Okay,
I'm talking about, more thinking globally but spending locally. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for me, there's things that are priorities. Vacations would rank really high up there, so I can actually get out and, I don't know, see other shit. Because if I stay here for too long, sometimes even stay here for 2 months at a time, then it's too much.
Where are you going? Where are you going on a holiday? Are you going to the Bahamas, or are you going to Antwerp?
Sandals.
Oh man, all over. Japan is one of my favorite places to travel. Spent a lot of time in Japan. Spent a lot of time in Greece. All throughout the U.S., of course. Like Atlanta. Atlanta is one of those places that I have. One of my best friends lives in Atlanta, so I've spent months at a time in Atlanta. With Boise being it is much more expensive than it used to be, but in comparison to some of these other places, it is nice to be able to hoard some money to where vacationing isn't as it's just a lot more doable.
First of all, it sounds like you live a more bi-coastal life than most people that we talk to on this podcast.
Yeah, big time.
While living in Idaho, which is making me angry and excited at the same time. But secondly, somebody like you who has a job, but it is not really a job, and you can do whatever you want whenever you want, sort of. When you go on vacation, are you actually not working, or is a vacation to you like a little bit of this? We're gonna go surfing today and then just get in the studio kind of thing, or are you really full vacation mode?
Usually, it depends on the trip. It'll either be very rarely do I blend the two, so it'll either be 100% business or 100% leisure.
It's healthy.
Because I don't like the confusion of going somewhere and doing one day in the studio and then having to turn off that part of my brain and turn on the other part. I like the compartmentalization of I'm doing this thing for X amount of time, or I can completely fucking check out and not worry about anything.
Damn, I'm impressed. I didn't know people could do that anymore.
It's taking practice.
Yeah, can you show us how to do that? What happened to you that you were able to figure this out, or is this always innately inside of you? Maybe you did a sound bath one day and you figured it out.
I would say most of it comes down to meditation.
Oh, okay.
Once I got into meditation, it completely changed. It rewired everything.
Chris said, "I'm out."
No, okay. Let's hear about your practice. How long are we doing? How many times a day?
At least 1 hour a day. At least once a day. So sometimes I'll do it in the morning and at night. And if I'm only doing it once a day, I'll do it at night. But it really comes down to emptying myself. All of these, you have so many pent up emotions and things that have happened, just bullshit that goes on throughout the day, and finding a way to get that out, quiet your mind enough to where you can empty yourself so that you can be filled up with peace. And the more that bucket keeps getting filled, the more it changes it just rewires your priorities, and it rewires I have such a overactive mind, and I never knew it was possible to control the dials of self-talk, and beyond that, how positive or negative self-talk is until I got into meditation.
Damn.
Wow. I mean, I usually just empty myself in the shower lately, but what are we doing? Transcendental meditation, or is this your own? Is it your own personal style that you've created?
It's my own thing. I have no idea what it would be. Sometimes I listen to music, and sometimes I don't. But yeah, it's just this act of
what position is your body in, if you don't mind me asking?
Chill, Jason.
Sometimes sitting up and sometimes laying down.
Okay.
Sometimes standing up?
Not standing
or
up.
Sitting up, you said.
Yeah, sitting up or laying down.
Yeah, I used to do I don't really do it in the traditional sense anymore, but I do a lot of, similar meditative things every day. But I used to every time I would get out of the shower, I would lay on the floor, but with my legs like at a 90-degree angle up on the bed, full nude, and then I would just like fall asleep for like 20 minutes, and then I felt fully recharged and meditated.
So what made you stop it?
Did somebody walk in on you and have to see that sight, and that kind of scarred you? Or
Yeah.
Honestly, I would say probably moving in with my partner. Like, it was a kind of thing where, like, if you live alone, it's a pretty cool thing to do. But now I don't have the time.
Did it start making you feel silly? Is that what it was? It made you feel stupid?
Just the simple act of me saying, like, hey, I'm gonna meditate for the next 20 minutes, babe. I was like, I'm done. I'm out. You know what I mean? Just having to say those words for some reason.
That's so weird. I wonder why. Why do you think that is?
Well, it's a good question. I feel like, I don't know. I like a shorthand. I don't like having to explain the things that I'm doing to other people sometimes.
Well, because I think if you're like, hey, I'm going to meditate, then it's like, why are you doing that? And then you have to answer some questions maybe that you don't feel like answering.
No, I'm not worried about that part. I'm not. I live in a safe space, but it's a me thing only.
Yeah, sure.
Chris, do you meditate?
Chris does not meditate. I'm a freak, bro. No, I don't do anything like that. I can't really, which means I need it more than anyone, which I do recognize. I'm not able to kind of for mostly better, but sometimes worse. I can't really shut down or turn off. That's not my kind of mode.
See, but that's exactly how I felt too. I felt that forever. But I will say that my whole thing.
Go on, brother Trevor. Go on.
Preach, brother Trevor.
Please tell Chris what you did.
My whole process really did involve. If things in my life would have stayed fine health wise, because I ended up going through a lot of health shit.
Yeah.
Then I don't think I ever would have jumped off that cliff. I had to be pushed. But once I was pushed, then it changed.
Okay. So you're saying because you had to slow down, because I read about this, your voice got all fucked up from some like meds. So you were like, I can't really do what I normally do. So you had to reevaluate your entire routine no matter what.
I had to change everything. Yeah, because no one could help. No one knew what was going on. And so that's what I mean by being pushed off the cliff. It was that for the first time in my life, actually getting to know who I am as a spirit or a soul, not what was projected onto me. Because you have all these basically recorded versions of yourself in your subconscious throughout your entire life, and to try to sit with that. It's impossible to really progress as a person, I found, unless you do something that's a firm line in the sand to slow down. And I had the same personality where I would have never chosen that. ever.
Sure.
Because I was always like, my mind won't fucking turn off. It's saying all of these
You're a
things.
bag chaser at the end of the day.
You're a bag chaser, just
Yeah.
like me. I get it.
Yeah. that was
So
it.
so basically you kind of had to look the devil in the eyes when you didn't have a choice and
Yep.
just let go.
Yep.
I mean, singing is obviously your livelihood, so being told you can't do it, or you're not even told, like physically not being able to do it, and then these guys telling you like, bro, I just don't know, man, let's run some more tests. I mean, that would make me insane. So you have to figure out a way to kind of deal with it.
Yeah, and then beyond even the voice stuff, it was this domino effect of it started affecting my eyesight. It started affecting all these, because you think about your digestive system, there's a domino effect with everything.
Shit.
And every single, even neurological shit, all of this stuff, it started connecting. And so, yeah, you start losing all this stuff, especially being someone like myself, where I've been a control freak my whole life. You start realizing how much of that is, in a sense, out of your control, but in another way, it's totally in your control when you can find a way to reach down deep and just find some solitude.
That's really scary.
So what do you guys do to turn off your brain, or do you just let it keep running?
I don't. I mean, I guess exercise is probably the closest thing I have. Because I'm sober, so I don't use drugs to escape like Jason. But I am jealous of all those who still can. So I probably need to deal with that too.
Jason, how often when you're using, are you getting fucked up, or is it more of just a self-medication thing?
More of a self, like for example, today I took 10 milligram THC gummy and I did Pilates. And when I do that, it increases your mind and body connection, and I'm thinking about anything but my life or whatever is going on, or I forgot to email that guy back, or the whirlwind of stress that you're just like, there's no clocks, there's no phone, there's no time to get a sip of water, and that you really kind of submit, turn the whole brain off.
So it's really the same goal. It's just quieting everything.
Yeah, just time, like, it's a Virgo thing as well, half joking, but sometimes I just need to unplug and just sit quietly in a room with just nothing going on.
Yeah.
Where you can just feel like, ugh, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
The closest thing I do is sit outside and stare. I kind of take a break in the afternoon where I go outside and kind of just sit on a bench and watch life pass me by. And I'm looking at my phone occasionally, but I'm pretty close. That's as zenned out as I'm going to get, probably. Because even when I'm exercising or running or whatever, I'm usually, there's points where I'm able to kind of zone out, but I would say a lot of it I'm not able to.
Yeah. But it sounds like that's kind of also the same thing. That's one thing I've found is that you're seeking, or at least most people, you're seeking a similar headspace to just avoid the noise, and people go about it a different way.
Yeah, no, totally. That's all we're all chasing to an extent.
How long have you been sober, Chris?
Like 7 years.
Oh, okay. Was that hard?
Yeah, of course it was hard, but it wasn't like, from what I've heard from other people, it was OxyContin, and I kind of weaned myself off and did it the way that I thought was best. But I didn't like.
That's a vicious one.
I OD'd. I was in the hospital and stuff, but it wasn't like I've just heard, you hear so much worse that you're always like, well, my shit ain't that serious. You know what I mean? It's like, it's one of those things. But I think that like that is not. I don't know during that phase though if I was escaping in a positive way. I think that was more of a negative escape.
Yeah.
Because it gets to a point where it's like, oh, this is like you can't escape all the time, Chief. Mm-hmm. You have to live some life. It's not you can't run all the time. But I think that I don't really miss it. I was joking a little bit, but I do think that like the idea of being able to relax is a little bit foreign. And I know that at least weed, that's like the best use of it, really.
Well, in Oxy is so intense. That's one in Idaho, that drug culture, first and foremost, is especially if someone doesn't have a direction for their life, Idaho can be such a comfortable place that you end up.
Yeah.
I mean, you see so much shit. I mean, even I have some next door neighbors. She is probably maybe 55 or so, maybe late 50s, but she inherited the house. Her and her husband got divorced. Her husband had the house. He gave it to her son. Her son felt bad for his mom because she's a meth addict. So he gave his mom the house.
Don't do that.
But now she'll have all these she's got drug buddies that stay in the backyard, and they set up these tents. They'll burn trash because they won't pay for recycling.
What?
My windows have really bad insulation, and so what happens is that the trash smoke gets inside the house, and it's such a shit show. So a lot of the lyrics, like on
Jesus Christ,
on the album,
it smells like burning plastic in the house.
Wait, sorry. Go start over again, Trevor. Sorry.
It's constantly dealing with that realm of, it's a different world to say the least, but then it's also when they're burning trash and they're doing all, she'll also mow the lawn at 3 a.m. because in her mind it makes sense. Like, that's when you would mow the lawn. So I've had to go out there and talk to her, ask her to stop, and then we'll get into these weird conversations about, she works at Subway, so then she talks to me about Subway sandwiches, and it's this whole it's such a there's constant well of inspiration, really, is what I'm trying to say, while at the same time being brokenhearted for this person.
I mean, so you have to deal, like, it's your neighbor, so you have to deal with this. There's no like avoiding it. Like, I feel like this could almost be daily. You have to deal with some bullshit.
Yeah, and it depends on who is living with her, because there was one boyfriend of hers who he had tried to stab her. It sounds like something directly out of a great American novel or something, because he tried to stab her. The police came. The police have come to the house. I've lived in this house for about 3.5 years, and the police have been to that house at least 12 or 13 times since I moved in 3 years ago.
For sure.
And the boyfriend, she had locked him out because she, at one point,
On account of the stabbing.
Yeah, well, he broke in and tried to stab her, so she called the police.
Okay.
The police found him hiding in my bushes. So it's shit like that. So you see, all that being said, you just see where there's so many different types of characters that I'm surrounded by, and drugs are such a huge part of life in general for so many people, but especially there's like a small town, unique aura around small town drugs that is, it's its own beast.
Oh, I would agree with you completely. What drugs are you doing? Or are you not doing any?
I wouldn't say I'm sober. I drink. I smoke weed sometimes, very rarely. Maybe I might smoke weed once a year, if that. So it's very rare. But for the most part, I just drink sometimes. But even that, I think the last time I drank was maybe 3 months ago. I had a drink. So for the most part,
wow.
I wouldn't use the word sober on myself, because I do partake once in a while, but it's more of a special event thing.
Yeah. You sound like you have a pretty good handle on it.
Damn.
Yeah, I just don't. I know where I'm going in life, and I know what I want to do, and what I want to say, and so I also know that there's certain things that might get in the way of that, and I'm just not interested.
Bro, I gotta say,
good for you.
Yeah,
you make it look so easy.
I was about to say, I wish I would have known that shit about 10 years ago, because I let a lot of shit get in the way. I let a lot of stuff get in the way.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard.
Did you party when you were? I mean, because you were successful pretty young, so I imagine you kind of had to learn this the hard way, or no?
Yes, for sure. So I got signed to Fat Possum and started Youth Lagoon when I was 21 or 22. And so from early 20s to probably 28 or so, lots of drinking, to the point where it was never a problem. It was never a faucet I couldn't turn off. But it also became this thing that I didn't like myself as much when I was drunk compared to when I was sober. And that was more of that realization of, why am I doing this thing when there's a better version of myself that I could have? It's fully achievable. But a lot of that stuff just comes down to, I mean, growing up, you think about how you are when you're early 20s, and you think you have shit figured out, and you have nothing figured out. And every 3 or 4 years, you realize that you're, becoming this other version of yourself, and that the decisions that you make today dramatically affect who you are as a person tomorrow. And it just keeps stacking up.
Oh, I need a drink.
I wasn't ready to have my third eye busted open today. I don't know about you. I don't know about you, Jason, but I wasn't ready. I was not ready.
No, I guess I kind of was ready.
What did you, out of curiosity, I'm really interested in this. What did you guys, when you set this up, what did you expect it to be like?
Oh, I didn't expect. We try not to expect much. That's kind of our whole approach, is like, let's just see what happens. I mean, I listened to the record. I've seen the press about the record. I've been familiar, obviously, like with the music since the inception, I would say.
We don't really, the only thing that we usually expect, or at least attempt to do, is talk about anything but whatever it is that you're promoting, you know what I mean? And just have a regular
convo.
That.
That's why I was so excited about this whole thing, is because it just gets so boring.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It gets really fucking boring.
Well, you sound like the type of person who also doesn't want to just kind of have those media trained answers, and you're like, oh, that's a really good question, and then you kind of turn your brain off and like, actually this happened, and whoa, that was so crazy about when you lost your voice. Tell me about that. And then it just becomes work, and you're like, okay,
the voice.
I'm selling some commercials for you. This is awesome.
The voice thing is what really got out of control, because then everyone started trying to paint it as the record is about that thing, which it's so not. It woke me up, and it taught me a lot of stuff about myself, but the album has nothing to do with that. But that's what gets exhausting about the narrative cycle of things. I understand why it's interesting to people.
Yeah.
It's also, when you talk about it at length, you could Google it and read every bit of information out there,
right,
and it already exists. So why the fuck, would I talk about it?
That's what we say. I mean, that's what we say all the time. It's like, I know this. I already know this story because I've seen it 6 times before you come talk to us. So I don't need to. I have no further questions, Your Honor. I'm all good.
Yeah, that's totally it.
I think the only question I had was what pill was it, or what medication was it?
Yeah.
It was omeprazole.
Which is what?
What is that?
Which is Prilosec.
Really?
I was like, Aperol?
Which is, it's also interesting because no one has asked me that question, which is crazy. Isn't that fucking insane? That
is weird.
To my knowledge, not a single journalist has asked what pill it was.
Okay, so this is for like heartburn, indigestion, things like that.
Yeah, but the doctor gave it to me not for that. So what had happened, and then I end up talking about it anyway. I'll give a version of it that I haven't talked about.
Okay, so you snorted the Prilosec, and the doctor was like, "That was."
I snorted it. Yeah, so I had this light stomach pain. So a doctor was like, what you probably have is an ulcer, even though I had only had this pain for a couple of days and it would have gone away on its own. So he gave me Prilosec, which obviously it's fucking Prilosec, so no one would ever think anything of it.
Yeah.
And that's what ended up doing it. So it wasn't like I had taken Prilosec because I had heartburn, or there was no need for me to take this.
Doctor's orders.
Yeah. And it completely, it's weird though, because as devastating as it was on my body, it was revolutionary and so necessary for my spirit. So if I could go back and hit a button and have it not happen, I would never hit that button, because everything does it. One thing leads to another.
Yeah.
But I just can't.
Well, that doesn't mean you can't sue the motherfucker that prescribed it to you.
I know. And he took, there was no responsibility. He acted like it was all this other stuff. And yeah, it was the only thing in my life that changed was the fucking Prilosec.
Damn.
Well, I mean, you have a great attitude, and I've experienced bodily injuries where you're like, wow, this was terrible. It really fucked my life up, but I needed, the big man upstairs needed to pump the brakes for me because I wasn't going to do it myself, kind of thing.
Yeah. What would you say is the biggest way that that's taken shape for you?
It really helped me out, like delegating stuff to other people and not feeling like I have to do everything myself. And then when you're put into a situation where you're forced to not be able to do anything yourself, and you just you have to like you cannot sing anymore, so you have to stop singing. Things like that where it finally just stops and you're like, okay, can you give me a ride to get groceries or something like that, little things like that.
Yeah,
where you have to ask your friends for help or your family for help.
Yep
Made it a lot easier.
I mean, I feel like Jason, I mean I remember when you broke your ankle and you were like immobile, and I feel like everybody was like happy to you'd built up a lot of goodwill.
Yeah.
Like you're the kind of person that people are happy to help, I think I could be on my deathbed and people would be like, get your own water. That's kind of where I'm at. But I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Let's hope. But I do think that Jason's a very dependable guy. So I think that there's like a kind of repayment that would go on from people without even thinking twice. If there was
Chris, would you say that you're not dependable?
Oh, I'm very dependable. I'm more dependable than Jason. He's a bum compared to me.
It's true.
But he's dependable.
But then why do you think that people wouldn't bring you a glass of water if you needed one?
Well, my mom would probably. No, because I just don't have I don't think people are very sympathetic to my plight. I'm not a guy who is. That's not what people think, and that's fine. I'm partly joking.
The doctors say he's an asshole. That's what it is.
I'm a real dickhead. Yeah, exactly. Like this dickhead over in room 10. Like, fuck this guy. He's not eating tonight. No, but I think that the asking others to do things for you is a challenge for me too, for sure. I would rather just do it myself. Partly because I want it done right.
Yeah.
Partly because I think I can do it better. But then other times, like even with our show, like I have no technical capabilities. So like Jason, because of his background in music, is very well versed in editing and that whole thing. So like there's no way for me to participate in that, And so there's a level of like, well, I trust Jason because he's my partner in this business and the show, so he can do whatever he wants. I'm not going to sniff his ass every 20 minutes to see if it's getting done or if it's being done up to my standard. I trust that Jason is always going to do a good job because Jason cares about the results.
Yeah, but that's as good as it gets though when you start working with people that you trust, because then
that's true. No, agreed.
You can not only fill in the gaps with all the stuff that that you're bad at, because it's like you start realizing these are my gifts and these are my weaknesses. And then when you start filling in the weaknesses, as long as it is people that you trust, then you give yourself responsibility to relax. And I think that can totally, like, you see it in art all the time where people obsess over doing everything themselves, when if they just were a little more strategic, delegating duties to people that might do XYZ better than they do.
Yeah.
Not only would the end result be better and more finely tuned, but I think that there's something to be said of handing off the baton, so it's not just one person touching it, that makes something more interesting or more multi-dimensional.
Yeah, but in a narcissistic opinion would be, but there's something to be said about saying, I did this all by myself, suck my dick from the back, motherfucker. I didn't have anyone.
That's another way.
He's like, yeah, that's true. Yeah, good point. No, but I think that I agree with you.
Yeah. Jason, you're right, buddy. I'm wrong.
No. Which I'm saying that's something that somebody would incorrectly say. That's an unhealthy way to look at things.
It's very unhealthy. And it's also just straight up, I think people have that fear too of if they involve more people, then they're going to get less credit, when if the end result ends up being something that is stunning or undeniable, everyone involved gets credit, and it should not affect your ego.
No, totally. I mean, I think that the struggle and kind of fight for credit is one of the biggest ills in our society to some extent. Like I just think it's like, if also my attitude is always like, if it's that good, people are going to know who did it. You don't have to scream it from the mountaintops.
Totally.
Like if you know what I mean, if you really put,
people are going to ask, who directed that film? Wowie.
If you really put your foot in it, and you really have a point of view, I think people will know that, and the people, especially the people who matter, will know that, and like that should be enough, of course. But I think that like we're in a kind of liked based society now, so it's different.
Well, since we don't get paid in money for things anymore, credit is kind of all we're calling for at this point, right?
You're like, can I get a reservation at this table without calling ahead?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, but it's like you see it all the time, and I mean, there's many reasons that we've arrived here, but I think that it's I just don't think that's as important as people think it is. You're right. The end result is more important than who's getting credit for it.
Easier said than done, y'all.
But also there's with end results too. Sometimes even if you make something that it could stand on its own 2 feet and multi-dimensional and undeniable, all this stuff, sometimes it doesn't even hit right away. That's what's really fascinating is people can do something that might be ignored, sometimes even up until the point that they die, and then suddenly people give a shit, you know.
It's oftentimes right just a few moments right after they die.
Yeah, exactly. I say all the time, the best thing you can do for your career is die. That's the number one thing you can do.
That's so true.
If you die, especially a little bit young, I'm not saying 27 club, but you know, like if you kick the bucket a little early, all the records are genius. You were a genius. You were ahead of
great for your career. Yeah, so good for your career.
great for your those Spotify checks get big.
Yeah,
somebody's getting them. Yeah,
the Youth Lagoon estate will be.
It is so sad though how someone could be. I've seen it happen so many times where no one even gives a shit about someone, and then they die, and then suddenly everyone acts like they were listening to whatever they were making or watching whatever they were making.
Oh yeah, they're posting DMs where they said, "Hey man, I like your music," and they fucking gave it a heart. And they're posting that shit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, people need. You know, unfortunately, we're in a society where most of the activities that you do every day, instead of foraging for food or hunting and gathering, you're trying to figure out what you're going to create content about today. And if somebody dies that you knew, then it just made your life's work a little bit easier that day.
I love that outlook so much. That's so great. That's so great. How is it in the podcasting world in terms of competition? Because it's like all media now, it's so oversaturated, and obviously you guys are fucking killing it, but how often does the competitive mindset enter into play, or does it at all?
I mean, I'm probably more competitive than Jason. Would that be fair, Jason?
Yeah, I would say so. I'm competitive, but Chris is debilitatingly competitive.
No, I mean, it's not like I love to see other people succeed. It's not even like that. I just want to succeed more than them.
As long as they're not in the same category as us on Apple and iTunes.
Yeah, I mean, I also think I don't look at numbers of any kind. Like on I don't look at podcasts. I don't read the comments.
He's a vibes guy.
I'm vibes guy only.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always worked for me. But I also think podcasting is like a funny. I mean, it's so big now that it's like
it's huge.
We joke about it. I mean, the celebrities are coming for it, you know.
I find myself being very competitive in the podcasting world just because it is a system that, you know, it kind of reminds you back in the old days when you'd look in Rolling Stone and every week it would list, here's all the top albums, and you would see it.
Yeah.
And now, like, you kind of have to dig around if you really want that info.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you work in the biz, you're going to see it, and like the people that do your PR and your management, they're reading it. But like, the average person doesn't really know about movie charts, TV charts, ratings. They're just like, did it do good or bad? That's it. But with podcasting, you're constantly ranked. You're always in a position of like, oh, we're number 37 today out of this category. So you do see it a lot more, but you also compare yourself to other shows that are much bigger than yours and you think are so much worse than yours. And that's like the frustrating part about the competitiveness. When I'm sure this happens to you in music all the time, where you're like, this motherfucker is selling out arenas and I'm not.
I actually don't think like that at all. Yeah.
Well, of course you don't, because you're perfect, but you know, many others do. I'm just kidding.
Harry Styles is fine, I guess. I mean, I could fit into those fucking clothes too, but nobody's calling me. I think podcasting, yeah, I do think it's like your record comes out, you know, and the first week is what really matters for the most part, you know, like back in the day, especially, that's what really mattered.
Every week is first week when you're a podcaster.
Yeah, every week is first week when you're a podcaster. But I also think
stressful is that? That's got to be so stressful, right?
Oh no, I don't care. I think that we do so much of this that part kind of falls off. Like, you know, I don't think about it like that. That's kind of the truth of it when Jason says it, obviously, but that's not how you think about it.
We don't check the charts or anything like that. We just kind of keep our head down and keep cranking out the episodes and
Well,
you know,
and
hope
some
for the
industries
best.
are like that too, where it's more of a patchwork quilt. It's not necessarily what you're doing today or this week, but over time, when it all starts clicking together and there's an identity that forms.
Like television's Frasier.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
great show.
You get it.
You want to build the world around you too. You want to have like great guests. It feeling good is more important to me than like looking at iTunes.
Yeah.
Like it feeling good and like feeling good about what we're doing is more important, which I'm sure is similar. I mean, obviously you don't want to play to an empty room, but if you think you're doing what's good, then it's going to catch up.
100%. 100%. Yep.
Yeah, and also like this episode, for example, Chris and I are gonna get dozens of DMs from people saying, "Wow, this episode was really cool and different, and I liked how the guest was sort of getting a little, you know, therapy mode with you guys, and I heard a new side from you, and I thought that was really awesome and cool. I'm gonna go check out their album. I heard of them, but now I'm really gonna listen to them." And those are the things where you're like, okay, that was really cool and that was awesome, versus just like,
Yeah.
we got another McDonald's ad, y'all.
Yeah, I mean, it's look. Don't get me. It's a for-profit business. Don't get me wrong. But I also think that like the reality is we'd probably be doing this for free if that was available to us because we truly like doing it.
For sure.
And as long as you feel like that.
Well, and you can tell too with just the way it comes across, and that's also it's also interesting too when the for-profit thing, it ends up paying off when people are their most authentic self. Like the dude, what's his name? Oh, BJ Novak.
Yeah.
From The Office, and he's done all, you know, he's so much shit. But I was listening to a podcast that he was on, and he brought up a good point because he said that ironically, as much as he's hustled his entire acting career, writing career, all of this stuff for, you know, not only work that he cares about, but the money attached to it. He said the thing that has paid the most money ever times 10 was the thing that he did completely out of purity, which was that children's book. He wrote a children's book, which he did just for fun, just because he felt like fucking writing a children's book. And then that's the thing that paid so much more money.
It's funny. It's weird you said that. I literally was at his house last night looking at his children. Well, it's funny because there's like memorabilia from, you know, TV shows and awards and stuff like that. But then there's that book, but there was a thick stack of them in all the different foreign languages that it had been printed in because it was, you know, such a cool and successful book.
Successful. Yes.
I really hope you're being serious.
No, he is. Yeah.
Yes, that's so great. Wow,
That's
the
serious.
timing of that then is incredible.
I know, right?
Because I do see that I didn't know that. But I do see him kind of every once in a while. He'll post something about it, and I'll be like, "Damn, this book has been on the New York Times bestseller list for, you know, a year."
Dude,
something
it's
really
fucking
staggering.
huge.
Like something really staggering.
It's so big. It's so
Once
big.
you heard that, did you start like whipping up a couple kind of maybe the children's album? What's, you know, something like
That's
that?
next on the docket. Yeah.
Yeah, leaving money on the table, bro.
I've been in the studio. I'm working on something. You know what I mean? A little something.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. No, I mean, I think that it just, people always, you have these goals or these, it's like people can tell if you're doing something for whatever reason it is, people can sense it.
I think so too.
And when you lose sight of that, that's when things get really terrible, because you could have something from an artistic vantage point, you could have something critically or commercially bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And you could have done it for the wrong reason.
Yeah,
You're not even the only thing that you're guaranteed of in this life when you're doing something that is some kind of, you know, expression is, do you like it? That's literally the only thing you have guaranteed. And so if you're not even checking that box, what a fucking tragedy, because that's the only box that you're guaranteed. You know,
the
only thing. It's the only thing.
Yeah, you can. Oh, I see. So you could basically do it all for the wrong reasons, and then nobody likes it, and then you're really fucked. You know, you don't make any.
Then you're super fucked. Yeah. So at least you could check the box of, do you like it? And
I didn't like it, and neither did anyone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
So weird how that works. That sucks.
That reminds me of, you know, there's all these articles being written about podcasting, about how the big celebrity boom went away, and now people want podcasts from just regular normal people, because you can tell when you're listening to a fucking millionaire famous person on a podcast, they're not doing it for fun. They're doing it because their manager was like, "Hey man, I can probably get you like 10 million in a month if you just do this for a while."
Yeah.
And then and then you have this famous person being like doing an ad read for, a mattress or something like that, and nobody wants to buy a mattress from, a famous actor. You want to buy it from your cool regular person friend on your podcast.
Yeah.
Because you believe them.
Yeah, the believability is everything because people can sniff it out.
I was just drinking my AG1 moments ago. I have a green ring around my mouth.
It's so good.
But it's worth it.
It's delicious, isn't it, Jason? Don't you love that stuff?
Yum.
Oh, I was going to say, as we're kind of winding down, we usually... I guess we can ask both of our recurring questions. Number one, top 3 favorite prescription pills of all time.
Prilosec, all 3. Yeah, probably Prilosec. Just Prilosec.
Okay, Prilosec all the way.
Yeah, I'll just go Prilosec, all 3.
Now, I realized halfway through that this is a funny but very maybe triggering joke. Okay.
No.
Sync talk. Basically, whenever you have a recording artist, a songwriter, things like that, a song or a sync opportunity that was, a crazy story involving a sync that went really well, or maybe the sync that got away, you were going to get a fat check for some Prilosec commercial, and then it got pulled at last minute for a Bare Naked Ladies song.
Oh, I got multiple good ones actually. There was
okay, good.
There was a Facebook one years ago. I'm trying to think it was probably 2017, and it was for they were unrolling or rolling out some kind of new, I don't know what it was, Facebook shit, and they had locked in
new Facebook shit dropping
my track Cannons as part of that whole thing, and it was some ungodly amount of money. It was like maybe $70,000 aside or something. And at that time, I was right on the cusp of, okay, I think I need to get a day job because I was barely making ends meet and all this.
Asking
stuff.
your neighbor if they're hiring at Subway.
Yeah, exactly. And so this thing came through, and then I got the confirmation, and my team never confirms things until it's actually, set in stone. And so I got a confirmation from my manager, and all that being said, they ended up last minute. It was the day before everything rolled out. They ended up having a team of people recreate my song. They had hired a musicologist to change just enough of the notes to where they could legally get away with it.
Yeah.
And then they rolled out the ad. So people still thought some people still thought it was Cannons. It was so close. But legally, when we looked into it, they had changed a certain percentage of the song to where they could get away with it, and completely, So there's that.
Zuck does it again.
That's got to be so frustration. I mean, there's like nothing you can do at all.
Nothing
at all.
Yep, nothing.
I guess you could do a tweet about it.
Yeah, I don't know. Not worth it.
If you even care, it's just
it's
not worth it.
Do you have a positive one? Do you have a positive one where you made out like a bandit?
So there was an NFL one. There was a commercial for the actual just NFL as an entity.
Yeah.
And that I think that was the first time. So my dad.
Nothing says NFL as an entity like Youth Lagoon.
Yes. That's exactly what I thought. That's the proudest my dad I know without a doubt has ever been. Up until that point, it's kind of like, I don't know. I just don't know if anyone's paying attention. And then I got that, and it just completely
proudest day of your dad's life.
Big time. He still
you did good, boy.
Yeah, he still talks about it, and it helped me. I mean, that's the nice thing about licensing is for me. Not only is it the survival of just making ends meet and continuing to make new music, but dump it back into the recording. So I remember after that, I was able to use that towards the following record.
Yeah, God bless.
That's good. You get better karma that way versus buying a bunch of shoes.
which is what I would do.
But it's so up and down. The whole industry is so up and down that if you go that route, then you just run out of money, because it's like you can have something hit big, and if you spend the money and you're not setting it aside or spending it on reinvesting it, then it ends up you just run out.
We never want to run out of money. That's very important to me.
Yes.
Trevor, thank you so much for joining us today on How Long Gone. It was a pleasure. Your album,
Great work.
Heaven is a Junkyard, is everywhere now. It's Pitchfork Best New Music. Thank you to our friends at Fat Possum for putting this out. Yeah, man, it was a pleasure, honestly.
Yeah, Chris, Jason, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
And we'll see you soon, man.
We'll stay in touch.
All right. Talk soon. Later.
I don't remember how